Welcome to Between Two Chairs, Demystifying Commercial Real Estate, the podcast that brings you the latest insights and trends on the South Florida commercial real estate market, with your hosts, Fernando Arencibia Jr. and Jennifer Wollmann. In each episode, we dive into the world of commercial real estate and break down complex concepts to make them accessible for everyone. Whether you're a real estate professional, a curious investor, or just interested in the South Florida market in general, Between Two Chairs is the podcast for you. So pull up a chair and join us.
Well, welcome everybody to a very, very special episode of Between Two Chairs. We are so happy that you have pulled up a chair and joined us today, and I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. My name is Fernando Arencibia Jr., and with me, as always, is the ever effervescent Jennifer Wollmann. Jennifer, say hello.
Hello, everybody. Hello. So today we have an awesome episode. I'm so excited. Today we have the honor of interviewing Linda Julien. She is an extraordinary human being. I don't know all her titles. I mean, she's Councilwoman of Miami Gardens here in Miami-Dade County. You have heard us reference Miami Gardens several times in various episodes. She's an adjunct professor at Miami-Dade College. She is a governor on the residential board of Miami Realtors, and she is a broker of a real estate firm here in Miami-Dade County as well, doing residential and commercial real estate and new developments. And she is an incredible woman. She volunteers. She spends so much time with her friends, clients, constituents that you can't help but fall in love with her when you meet her. She is just all around amazing. And today she is going to share a bunch of insights with us on the city of Miami Gardens, which we were talking about over the years, how perfectly situated Miami Gardens is, because it's at the crossroads of everything. It's like the crossroads of Miami-Dade County and Broward County. It's great transportation between the 826 and I-95. It's close to both of our airports, both of our ports, and they have been, the city council and political leadership has been very, very intentional in how they have grown Miami Gardens over the years. So welcome, Councilwoman.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much. I think in an effort to save energy, because I have not been moving, the lights kind of went off. I have to get it
There
on.
You don't need a spotlight. You're a walking spotlight.
Yes.
So, you're good. You're good. You radiate.
I don't want it to go completely dark. Can you just give me a moment?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You got it. Absolutely. Well, yesterday we had the opportunity, as we wait for the Congresswoman to come back, to obviously have lunch with her in Miami Gardens, but more importantly, drive around and see where some of the developments that we are going to be speaking about today are happening. And there's a lot going on in Miami Gardens. So, that's why we're so excited to have you and to get to dive into it.
Before we get into it, can you give us a little bit about your journey? Share with us what you would like people to know about you and where you are today.
Sure. I was born and raised here in Miami-Dade County. My parents migrated here from Haiti in search of a better life, like many people who come from other countries. And, I don't think that my parents ever thought that both their children would be in public service. I have a brother who is in the military, serves in the Air Force, and he's also a police officer. And then I'm on the public service side, serving as an elected official. But I grew up here. I attended Archbishop Curley Notre Dame High School. I went to Florida International University for undergrad and Florida Atlantic University for graduate school, and thought that I was going to have a career in law. Wanted to go to law school, and then the universe had other plans for me. Yeah. And then after receiving my master's degree, I wanted more, and I went and got my real estate license, and voila, here I am. And so I started my journey in North Miami, worked there for about 9 years, purchased my first house in 2017 in Miami Gardens. And it was such a joy. And I remember being a part of the process and, I studied government. So I attend council meetings. Like this is kind of like a part of what I do. And I couldn't have any faith in the people who were running to represent me. And I was like, okay, well, if I want to see some change, perhaps I should be that change. And let me just go ahead and give it a shot. Gave it a shot, ran, and won. And so here I am with you today.
I think Miami Gardens is very, very lucky to have you. So let's jump right in. Several years ago, we were at an event there at the Stadium Hotel, and it was a Miami Realtors City Spotlight. And the mayor spoke about all of the development that was coming to Miami Gardens and their process of having every government entity that is going to have any say in a given development sit at the table with the developers, the contractor, the architect, the development team, so that everybody is on the same page from the get-go. Can you describe that a little bit?
Absolutely. And so one of the things that we pride ourselves on in Miami Gardens is community input and stakeholder input. And so when we're looking to build, when we're looking to construct, if we're working on a strategic plan, no matter what it is, we always want to have some input. And so, yes, we do bring stakeholders to the table when it comes to planning the future and the longevity of the city of Miami Gardens. And so developers come in and they pitch a project, and other developers will come in, or subcontractors or community stakeholders are a part of that conversation. We truly believe that we don't have all the answers, and we don't expect to have all the answers, but together, everyone achieves more. And that's always our mindset when we do business in Miami Gardens. So all are welcome. We take some ideas, we toss out other ideas, but together we put together this thing that can work for the betterment of Miami Gardens and its stakeholders and constituents.
And we just want to highlight we try to demystify concepts here, but it's a rare thing, right? It's a very special thing that Miami Gardens is doing, because the most municipalities don't bring all the stakeholders together. Oftentimes, when you're going through the process of getting a development approved, it has to go through different departments, and then every department, oftentimes, unfortunately, they have their walls up, right? And sometimes you feel, as you're going through that process, that the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, because you'll get a comment from one department telling you that this works, and then the other department says it doesn't work for them. And so when you have everybody together from the very beginning, then at least everybody understands what is the ultimate goal. And I think it probably allows them to work together closer. Is that what you have found out in regards to how interdepartmental collaboration works?
Yes, it is. And we found that, compared to other practices, it is a best practice. We often look at other municipalities or other government structure, and, we look to see what they're doing, because we're always looking for best practices and, the things to do and things to maybe stay away from. And we have found that this is one of our better practices, bringing everyone to the table, because you never know what you're going to get. And then you put all that together, and then you get to pick and choose those things that work for the majority of the people.
I think that's awesome. And I think at a time where, across the country, just development has slowed so much, the whole development process, especially like if you talk to most practitioners or most developers, they're going to tell you that their number one issue besides zoning is how long it takes them to get permits done, right? Yeah. Like the permitting process is super, super long. I feel like doing it your way, the way that Miami Gardens has developed their process, streamlines that, right? And cuts out a lot of the back and forth and the frustration that all parties would feel. So kudos to you. Let's talk.
And if I may, Jennifer, I wanted to connect this because I just thought about it. And it is that a lot of times you, Linda, being a realtor, can appreciate the fact that, a lot of the clients that come to you, they don't transact every day. They don't go through the process, right? They don't have multiple transactions under the belt and that experience that you built. And think about a developer. Land is expensive. It's hard to come by. Once they have acquired the necessary land to do the project that they want to do, who better than the planning and zoning department to be able to give them, here's a perspective that you haven't considered, because we've been through this before. You're going to run into this wall. Let's avoid running into the wall. And so that collaboration, I think it's incredibly invaluable. It feels very entrepreneurial, and it feels very much like our job as realtors is to be a guide, right? And I think that mindset shift, it's amazing. So again,
game changer.
Game changer.
So
you guys should be a case study, and we should take the show on the road.
How to do good government.
Right.
So for all you podcasters out there that deal with government issues, please look at Miami Gardens as an example. You guys have big projects going on right now, right? 116 acres sold, which was the old Calder race course. It was purchased in 2022 by New York-based Link Logistics, a division of Blackstone. They're building, 2.3 million square feet of industrial, right? Wow. Yeah. And you guys also have the Miami Garden City Center on 35 acres. Can you describe that and that process and what's coming there?
Sure. So the 35 acres is a super exciting project for us. It's 35 acres of mixed-use development that is coming to the city, and it is located literally behind the City Hall, and which is walking distance from the Hard Rock Stadium. And so it's going to be mixed use. It's going to be hotel. It's going to be retail. It's going to be restaurants. It's downtown Miami Gardens. And so when you think about having a downtown feel, downtown encompasses hotel, retail, restaurant, a walkability area, if you will, art, culture. And so that's what that area is designed to be. And we're very, very excited about it. As you know, we have the Hard Rock Stadium, literally, like I can see it from City Hall, right? When we're up on the third floor, we can walk from City Hall to the Hard Rock Stadium and back, right? It's all about location and proximity. And so we're super excited about this development to come. And my term ends in 2028. And so I am hopeful and I am excited to see what is going to become of this 35 acres before the end of my term.
Great. Yeah, it's super exciting. To Fernando's point, we drove it yesterday. So let's get into Hard Rock Stadium, home of Miami Dolphins, Miami Hurricanes. It's this year's Copa's America final. The Taylor Swift concert is coming in October, Rolling Loud concert in December, FIFA World Cup in 2026. And Fernando, am I missing anything?
Yeah, I think you're missing a really big component, which is coming in a couple of weeks, which is the Formula One Miami Grand Prix.
May 3rd through 5th. So May 3rd through 5th.
Next week. Next week. They're in China now.
Yes. So talk a little bit about how Miami Gardens worked so closely with Miami-Dade County, bringing F1 to the Hard Rock, what that process looked like, challenges, etc.
Indeed. With any good thing, there's always going to be challenges. People don't see the make of a thing, but when that vision comes to life, right, people just get so excited. And so when the idea about bringing Formula One down to Miami Gardens came about, our constituents, were not in favor of it. They didn't know what to expect, especially a lot of, I would say, the seniors, the older constituents. A lot of people are just not accustomed to change and rapid change, and that is okay. That is okay. And so Formula One had been in the works for some years. Stephen Ross and his partners and the Miami Dolphins had this vision to bring this world-class event to Miami Gardens. And when the conversations were happening, residents had concerns. I will tell you that the Miami Dolphins and Formula One, these folks are just great community partners because they listened to what the residents had to say. And so the residents were concerned about the noise. They were concerned about the possible health risk. There isn't any health risk, but possible health risk, because this is the unknown and they just didn't know what to expect, right? And I can understand that, right? We fear the unknown. We fear what we don't know. And so they did everything to address all of the concerns that we as a city council had, that the county commissioners had, and that the concerns that our constituents had. And so they decided to configure the Hard Rock Stadium so that Formula One would not be on the outskirts of the stadium, but it would be on the inside of the stadium. And so when we talk about economic impact, when we envision, the Hard Rock Stadium is a true example, because all of these events that you guys just named, right? Think about it. They constantly have to change the venue to fit those events. So Miami Open was a couple weeks ago. It just ended. But if you drove along 199th Street, you will recall seeing signs that said Miami Open. You saw certain color schemes. You saw flowers, certain seating. People have to produce that. It has to come from somewhere. Someone has to deliver that. There's logistics involved. And so with all of these things coupled together, these are jobs, right? It's economic impact. And so Formula One came the first year and we got through it. There were trials and error, with a lot of things, but we learned from that. We convened, we gave our input as city council members. We spoke to our residents and we learned about their concerns. But I will tell you that everyone survived. And now we are headed towards year 3 and we are thrilled.
I have to say, I had the fortune of being able to attend the first Miami Grand Prix Formula One at Hard Rock Stadium. And one of the things that I love the most, and I've shared this with you, is that I had to park far away, right? There was the logistics of parking. And listen, this Grand Prix was the 11th venue in the history of Formula One in the United States, right? But in its first year, it was the highest attended, highest grossing Formula One event in the history of Formula One. So you could imagine the logistics. But what I loved about it is I heard that, part of the deal with our community partner Formula One was that they were going to hire local, right? And one of the things that I loved is that I parked in a parking lot that was, kind of far, group of business owners that had these rickshaws, and they were, basically putting people, driving them to the stadium and back. And it was a local business, and I got to speak to the owner, and he told me, oh my God, this is so exciting. We set this up, we bought the rickshaws, we got this business, and we're doing great. Call us when you're ready to leave, we'll pick you up. And, that excitement of seeing a business owner, an entrepreneurial spirit, and people that live in Miami Gardens being able to participate in the economic value that a Formula One event brings, that was a great beginning for me of the experience of Formula One in Miami Gardens.
Speaking of the economic value, can you tell us a little bit about the requirements that the city and county had regarding employment for Formula One?
Absolutely. And so the city of Miami Gardens, we're very big on internship opportunities. We're very big on employment, because when folks are employed, it helps to stimulate the economy in which you are in. We want folks in Miami Gardens to thrive. And in order to thrive, you have to be gainfully employed, right? You have to have you have to have things going for you, because this is now, if you have money coming into your pocket, now you can afford to go grocery shopping. You can afford to take your clothes to the local cleaner. You can afford to contribute to the economy by taking your family on a vacation, right? It's it's an ecosystem, right? But when you have no income, or you have very limited income, that ecosystem is kind of stagnant. And so we were very intentional about Formula One hiring local businesses in our city. And so they hired, I want to say, over 14 different restaurants and food trucks who are located in the city of Miami Gardens to provide meals during Formula One. And those businesses got to keep 100% of their earnings. So there wasn't even a fee charged to the organization. That was a win-win. And so imagine the list of businesses who are signed up to participate in Formula One. unfortunately, and it's a good problem to have, with the amount of restaurants that we have in Miami Gardens, everyone is not going to make the cut every year because they have a cap, right? But everybody gets an opportunity. Formula One is here for 10 years, right? So every year is an opportunity to get on that list and to showcase your business. So that's number one. The second part of it was the F1 in Schools program. And Jason Jenkins, may he rest in peace, he was a great community advocate. He was with the Miami Dolphins. I mean, a great pillar to this community. And unfortunately, he passed away while at work, believe it or not, or doing what it is that he loved. And he advocated to make sure that there was an F1 STEM program in the middle and high school, in the high schools in Miami Gardens. And so these students get to participate in this program. They get to travel with F1. They get the opportunity to understand the engineering behind these cars and what it is that makes these cars move so fast. What it is that, why are these special tires designed this way? What materials are they using? Everything that deals with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? But it's also racing. When you're a child, if you've had children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews, like they play with race cars and vroom, vroom, but there's, like, if you think about it, a science behind it. And so now these kids are doing something that they find to be fun, right? And it's a learning experience for them. So that was one of the other things that we had Formula One agree to. There's the light again. Formula One, in addition to providing signing a memorandum of understanding for them to provide us with funding to help towards the economic impact of our constituents and business owners.
I think that's such a great thing because, this is a race that is so, and really an entire series that is so tech driven, right? And to your point is the attractiveness of learning math, science, tech from that fun perspective in a vehicle that it's filled with technology. It has over 200 sensors that are picking up data points. The in-race decisions that are being made based on that, I think those classes must be extremely fun,
right? And
exciting for the kids.
Definitely capture the kids' attention more than sitting in a classroom and trying to learn the theory of it versus seeing it in this exciting setting. And more importantly, F1 there are a lot of leadership lessons there as well, which the kids probably don't even realize that they're getting just by being a part of the whole F1 experience. So great job again in the intentionality that you guys used in bringing them.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question because I think this is a beautiful thing. The first Formula One Grand Prix race ever happened in May 13th of 1950 in Silverstone in England, in London. 2022 Miami Grand Prix, the inaugural Grand Prix at Hard Rock Stadium. For the first time, I found this is like stats that were given before the first race. So I kept it. For the first time in the F1's long history, the championship will be hosted in a predominantly African-American community, Miami Gardens, renowned for its small businesses and impressive food scene, particularly at soul food and Caribbean restaurants. Speak to that, because I think that is, since 1950, that's a very cool thing. And you and I spoke about this, we mentioned it yesterday, that for years, every time you would turn on the TV and the Dolphins were on, people were saying live from South Beach, even though we were nowhere near South Beach, right? And more people have celebrated the fact that the stadium is in Miami Gardens. So can you mention a little bit of that? Because it's got to be a great source of pride for Miami Gardens to host this race.
Absolutely. So culture, everything that you just said, Fernando, right? The one word that comes to my mind is culture. We come from a melting pot. We come from all different backgrounds. We have so many different people living here in South Florida, particularly in Miami. People come to Miami, travel here for the culture. They travel here for the food. It's an experience. And yes, imagine bringing a sport like this in the middle of an African-American community that is surrounded by tons of culture, soul food, Hispanic food, Latin food, you name it, right? Culture. And people come here for that experience because, quite frankly, coming from another state or maybe another country, you're probably not exposed to Haitian food. You're probably not exposed to griot and pickles and bun and peze. Sancocho, you're different varieties of food, collard greens, mac and cheese. And so people come here for the experience, they come here for the culture. And again, it's that ecosystem, right? Because now it allows these restaurant owners to produce tons of food and to make some money from it, right?
Yeah.
And then these people leave with an experience. And so they say, hey, you've been to Miami before? When you go to Miami, make sure you go to Lorna's Caribbean Kitchen. Their food is amazing. When you go to Miami Gardens, make sure you go to Yarumba. Their food is amazing. And so it's a win-win. We are literally at the right place at the right time right now. And we could not be more excited. And it's bringing in money.
Yeah, that's awesome. Not everything went that smoothly, right? You said that the first year there were some hiccups. There was an issue with traffic. Tell us a little bit how you navigated that so that the next year, the good news is that 10 years is a long time to end up tweaking things every year and making it better and better. So tell us how you took lessons learned from the first one and addressed it for the second one.
Absolutely. And so lessons learned, right? Every year there will be lessons learned. We will never get this thing perfect because there is just no perfect system in anything. And so the first year, traffic was horrible. I mean, it was horrible. Like, I literally stood in traffic trying to get home maybe 2 to 3 hours. And remember, the first year, Michelle Obama was there. Her brother was there. Okay, they had them on the big screen on ESPN, and it made sense to me why during the race I was walking to get somewhere, and there were these guys with like these bulletproof vests on, and they had these things behind their ears with antennas and stuff, and it looked like a whole military SWAT team, if you will. And I was just like, what is happening here, right? And they were like, move, get out the way. Like, okay, it was like a pandemonium, right? Then later on, as I'm watching like the news coverage and stuff, they said Michelle Obama was at Formula One. I said, oh, well, go figure. It makes sense, right? why these people were there. But the traffic was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was bumper to bumper. I remember they shut down the roads. And when you left the stadium, you could only just go one way. It was horrible. Year 2, I got to Formula One. I left Formula One, and it was just kind of like traffic. Like, I totally forgot that we had issues with traffic. And the reason why that happened is because we sat down with the Hard Rock Stadium, we sat down with Miami-Dade County Police, and we said, listen, this event is happening here in our backyard. And so we know our community, and we know our community best. We know our residents. We know them by first name. We know the ins and outs of the neighborhood. Why don't you help us? Why don't you allow us to take the lead on creating the traffic pattern and the safety pattern, and you can follow our lead, and then we can make this thing work. And that's exactly what happened. Miami Gardens PD took the lead on it. We worked with the FBI. We worked with Miami-Dade County Police, as well as all the other agencies out there, El Portal Police Department, Miami Shores Police Department, but Miami Gardens took the lead on its community. When you know your community and you know your home, you will be a better leader. And everyone followed suit, and voila, the traffic issue was resolved. You're going to run into a little bit of traffic, but it's like bumper to bumper, but you're still moving. You are not at a standstill. And so I think that was a benefit.
And I think that's great that you guys address that, because you want the person who's coming here and attending this kind of event to have a positive experience for the entire event. And if you have this great experience while you're there, you're not going to remember so much the great experience as you're going to remember that it took you 4 hours to get home to go half a mile, right? So you want to make sure that traffic is an afterthought, right? That they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about what a great time you had. And you said something that you're never perfect. And that reminded me, I gave Fernando this little book for today. It's F1 quotes. And I remember reading one by Max Verstappen that addresses your perfection idea. It says, I think you improve on everything. You're never perfect. End quote. So I like that you guys took that into consideration and improve, but don't aim for perfection.
A quote from the reigning champion,
exactly,
three-time champion of Formula One. So you mentioned 2028, and I would love if you could kind of bring it all in and give us what is your vision and your expectation of Miami Gardens over the next 4 years?
Vision for Miami Gardens. My vision for Miami Gardens over the next 4 years is to create so much economic opportunity that it will raise the average median income in Miami Gardens. And so my goal is by the time the next census report comes around in 2030, that I can look at the census report from 2020 and say, aha, look, the average median income went from X amount of thousands of dollars per year to now X amount of thousands of dollars per year. And I will know that a lot of that came from the economic opportunities that we were intentional about bringing into Miami Gardens.
I love that. Question? No, I think you answered it, because I believe that you probably expect that will be the case, right?
Absolutely.
That there will be an increase in median income. I love that. Jennifer and I are big fans of, not a lot of goals, keep it to 3, right? And focus on one. But what I love about that is something that I've spoken about is this idea of the keystone habit. So it's like picking the one thing that is going to have leverage to improve all the other things that you want to see happen. And I think you're right. When people have, when that median income rises, then so many other things can happen for those families and for the people in the community.
They're going to buy homes. They're going to have money for down payment. They're going to rehab their home, right? When you raise your income, when your income goes up, you spend more money. You're able to save and you're able to spend, which helps with stimulating your economy. So it's a win-win.
Right. The local businesses thrive, to your point that you made earlier. You mentioned that you guys are working on updating your comprehensive plan. Mm-hmm. Are there any items in that comprehensive plan that you would like anybody thinking of investing or moving into Miami Gardens to know?
So, we're tweaking the comp plan, and we want people to know that we are open for business. We want people to know that we are a community that caters to the ideas. And so don't ever feel shy or feel some type of way or be disgruntled about having to come before a group of elected officials or a government agency to pitch an idea or to, the next great thing. One thing about us in Miami Gardens, we're truly a family. We're truly a family. We're a family away from our family, and we're always coming up with different ideas. And so I have a public administration background, which is the business, how to run a business, but of government, how to run government, right? Government is not profit seeking, but we have to make sure that we provide street lights and that we provide paved roads, etc. And all of that derives from taxes, right? You all pay taxes, I pay taxes, right? So that's different from a for-profit business, such as, let's say, Apple or Target, right? That is profit seeking. And so we tell people all the time, like, we have so much talent on the city council. I have a real estate background as well. And we have 2 educators on our city council. We have entrepreneurs, we have logistics, and so with all of those great minds coming together, we create magic. So our doors are always open. Please, please, please. We are a friendly community. We're a friendly bunch. All ideas are welcomed. And, we're always looking for the next great thing in Miami Gardens.
How do you balance? So thinking of progress, and I'm thinking of several examples that we have in Miami-Dade, and you spoke a lot about culture of your area. How do you stimulate new growth and economic development and still preserve the culture, the mom and pops, and not have the success go so high that now those locals are priced out of their market?
Being intentional and understanding that there is room for everyone to thrive. There's a place for everyone to thrive. And so we allow people to come in, on all different scales, all variety of scales. and we create a pathway for everyone to play a role and to be successful. One thing that I will tell you, I don't know if you attended the last City Spotlight in North Miami, but the mayor talks about the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency, right, and how they provide money to businesses and developers to come into that city. And every city is different. Everyone functions different. In Miami Gardens, we don't do that. And that we don't have to do that because there's just so much people want to come to Miami Gardens that we don't have to provide them incentives to come into our city. They're coming. Like, we're running out of room. And so for us, that's a win-win. We don't have to provide money to developers. I'm like, giving money to developers, well, they're make some money, building these projects, etc. And then why should we as a government provide the money? We're in such a good position. We don't have to do that. They're coming to us because they see the value in the land. They see the value in everything that's happening in our city.
That's amazing. Well, I want to thank you. We always learn so much whenever we sit down and speak with you. Your energy and love for Miami Gardens is infectious. So I want to thank you for all you do. And, and Fernando and I always wrap up every episode with a quick fun fact. So my fun fact for the day is, according to racer.com, and Fernando made me nervous with all of his F1 stats, but according to racer.com, the inaugural Miami Grand Prix in 2022 averaged a record 2.6 million viewers, and the 2023 season had 3 of the 4 largest live F1 audiences in history on U.S. television, with Miami leading the way. So Miami Gardens was in the spotlight, and the number of people that saw your beautiful city and everything that makes us love living here, was spotlighted. So thank you for doing that.
Well, I'm going to throw a curveball, and instead of a stat, I'm going to give everybody a recommendation that when you're in Miami Gardens, go to Yarumba Restaurant. It's a beautiful Dominican place, very vibrant, amazing food. All right. The plates are large.
Yeah, huge portions.
Huge portions. But the food was amazing. We had the pleasure of having the company of the Councilwoman. So, it just made it all that better. But again, Linda, I just wanted to say, you're a realtor, you're a councilwoman. But you are, more importantly for us, our friend, and we appreciate everything you do, and everything you're doing for for your city, for our county, for our state, and our nation. I want to say something about what Miami Gardens, the gift that Miami Gardens has given to the city of Miami. We are one of the only cities that can say that we have every major sports team. All right. But we also are hosting a World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay. Olympics are on the way, and we have Formula One, right? And very few cities can say that around the world. And that is definitely a gift to South Florida. So just like you are a gift to Miami Gardens.
Fernando, the World Cup is going to be played at the Hard Rock Stadium. It's making a stop in Miami Gardens.
That's right. It's going to be amazing.
You guys are on fire.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time and all the great work you're doing. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much, guys. This was really fun. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you guys, and looking forward to hosting you guys in Miami Gardens again.
Definitely. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this special episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Would love any feedback that you have to provide, and appreciate you listening. Bye.
Bye. Don't hang up yet.